Lights, camera, action.
If you fail to prepare, prepare to fail. That is one of the more valuable lessons that I learned in my years of producing, mixing, and mastering. Greetings and salutations, boys and girls. It's Max here for Mellow Media, and welcome to another mixing tutorial. The aim of this channel is to help you make the music of your dreams and hopefully make some money in the process as well. Today I want to talk about laying the foundation for a great mix. Now, mix prep is not as glorious as like parallel compression or reviewing some cool plugins, and we'll certainly get to that. But with time I understood that doing proper mix prep lays the foundation that my house mix is built on. Poor foundations lead to poor mixes and ultimately lead to lackluster masters. How you start a mix can have a profound effect on how it sounds when it is finished. And I'm going to show you how to get a great finish from the start. Thank you. So many people to thank and so little time. I want to thank my kids, because if they didn't exist, I wouldn't need to take the nonsense from some of these clients in order to buy Robux and nappies and stuff. Alright, back to today's topic, the unsexy subject of mix prep. This probably won't get me a million views, but let's do it. Now, I do a lot of live music. When I get a session, it usually looks like this. Just files upon files, upon files, upon files, stretching on for usually hours. These are the raw materials that I'm given. And it's more than just files, it's people's hopes and dreams. And from these raw files, I have to unearth a diamond.
Deep.
I know, right? Yeah, man. Today's diamond is by an artist named Lindiwe Mnisi, and it's a song called Kwamambala. Let's listen to it, and then we delve into the mix prep I did for this song and subsequently the show. Like I said, that was Lindiwe Mnisi with Kwamambala. I'm going to put a name up on the screen, put the name of the song up on the screen. Go and show us some love. Tell her that I sent you. Let's rewind. So right now we're in the session where I essentially received all the files. Here is our song right there amid all of these other songs. So the first thing we need to do is cut our diamond out. I essentially need to delete all of the stuff here before and the stuff that comes after. So I'm just going to put these markers here, those markers there, and I'm gonna delete time, leaving just a little bit of space here for the intro. Then, knowing that this is a long song, I'm gonna delete time over here as well for the rest of the show. Boop. Delete. There we go. Right, so basically we have our song here, and we have a little bit of the end here, because artists usually like to talk and do an outro. So the first thing you need to do is to find the tempo, and this is helpful for a number of reasons. One of the main reasons is if you want to copy and paste stuff. This is really great for anchoring all of your moves if you want to copy and paste loops, backing vocals, and so on. Let me demonstrate. So I took the liberty of just copying and pasting a loop over here. Now, the session, we already found the tempo, but let's assume that the tempo was standard, 120 BPM. That is how every session opens. Now, if I want to copy and paste if I want to copy and paste this loop, let's just switch that click off. If I want to copy and paste this loop, right, let's copy and paste. So as you can hear, you will have some problems in copying and pasting. And if I were to copy and paste this and copy and paste this, I would just essentially compound the issue. And that is what we don't want. However, when we have the tempo, when you copy and paste, it is accurate. You won't experience this problem. Smooth. Now, if like me, you made good life decisions and you work on Cubase, this is actually quite simple. You simply just highlight the clip that you want to copy and paste, and you just drag it until you are satisfied with your care, and it will copy and paste for you automatically. It's a real nice feature.
And that's a real nice feature.
So the second reason you want to find the tempo of your song is for temporary effects like delay. Delay traditionally pulses in time with your music, and it doesn't sound as musical when it pulses out of time. So let's demonstrate. I took the liberty of copying some claps over here, and let's just switch the quarter delay on. So when it is properly copy and pasted to the tempo and we have a quarter delay on, it should pulse in time with the song or the tempo. Now, if we had the default tempo going on, and we just need to go and find these guys. So we had the default tempo going on, it would sound like this. I mean, that kind of sounds cool and it doesn't sound bad until you put on something that moves in time with the music. Then you can actually see the problems that not knowing the tempo has created. So when you have it in time, pulsing in time with your music, then it sounds way cooler. Another temporal effect that benefits from knowing the tempo is reverb. I just used to willy-nilly set my reverb times and whatever felt good until I learned about science, and that there's a science to setting your reverb to the tempo. This is quick maths. Simply divide 60,000 by the tempo and you will get your reverb time. Why 60,000? That is because we work on beats per minute. In a minute we have 60 seconds, but we work in milliseconds. There are 1,000 milliseconds in 1 second. 60 times 1,000 is 60,000. Like I said, quick maths. Now I'm gonna cheat a little because I do know the tempo of the song because I mixed it. So we're gonna divide 60,000 by 81, which is the tempo of the song. Let me take out my trusty Windows calculator over here, and we get 60,000 divided by 81, and we get 740, 740, 740 recurring. That worked out quite nicely actually. The quick math continues, well, the quick-ish math. This is a quarter note. The delay that we demonstrated earlier is predicated on this math. If we were to use a quarter note reverb on this clap, this is how it would sound. But that sounds kinda, I mean, like, what if we want more, like more? Well, how do we get longer reverb times that conforms to the tempo? Well, more quick maths. We simply divide 60,000 by a smaller fraction of the tempo. This is getting convoluted. So we take 81 and we divide it by 2, which is 40.5. 40.5 divided by 2 is 20.5. 20.25. I got you. It's still quick maths, kind of like it's still 2-minute noodles. Okay, so here we go. Let us calculate the tempo for longer reverbs. We're going to take 60,000. We're going to divide it by 20.25. And we're going to get 2.9 seconds and some change. Now, we don't need to worry about much of that, as you'll only enter in a few of those digits to get your reverb time. Bruce, that was your cue.
Oh, what if I want shorter reverb time?
You had one job, Bruce. You had one job.
My bad.
You simply take the number that you got, which is your 2.9 and some change, and you divide it by 2. Divide it by 2, and you divide it by 2. And there's the 740 recurring again. The 2.9 second reverb will be your long reverb, and that will stretch for a full bar. Your half a bar reverb, which is 1.48 seconds, will go for half a bar, and the quarter reverb, you guessed it, will reverberate for a time of 740 milliseconds recurring. Later we will delve deeper into reverb, but this will serve as the foundation and the predicate for what we are going to learn. And now to vindicate myself. Once you know this formula, it is quick math. You can bypass everything we just went through and simply go direct. 60,000 divided by a fraction of the tempo, and then you get your long verb, your half verb, your quarter verb, and you can even get shorter times, an 8th note, a 16th note, a 32nd note, but more on that later. And now you can see it really was quick maths, unlike the false advertising of 2-minute noodles. And now that we have our reverb times, we can get really delicious and lush reverb that pulses in time with the music that sounds more like this. I can't close my fingers all the way, so I don't know if I'm doing it right. I'm making it my own. Alright, so we got a little bit carried away and we had to jump a bit forward, to jump a bit back to make sense of all of it. But let's bring it all together. So now, the way I find the tempo is through a BPM tap app. Say that 10 times fast. BPM tap app to BPM. Obviously can't. BPM tap app. So what I like to do is just let the sequencer run and then I tap to that. So we're running the sequencer. And conveniently, what these guys did was actually have click tracks here. So actually left this as a part. I think I left it as a part of the production because I like that what it added rhythmically. And I know that my tempo is right when the click track native to Cubase pulses in time with this loop and the click track, switching on the Cubase click track. So if you find that somehow the sequencer either slows down or it speeds up and they start going out of sync, it means the tempo you have arrived at is incorrect, and you will probably just need to do slight calibrations. No regrets. You need to do slight calibrations in order to get them to sync properly. And now that we have the tempo, we can start building the mix. And so to recap, the reasons you want to find the tempo is it simply just makes editing easier. It is very useful for temporal effects like your delay and your reverb. And another reason I like to work with the tempo is because you can compress according to the tempo. Yes, that's right. I call them compression windows. Because I'm trying to get y'all to come back to my channel and watch future videos, I'm just going to save that, park it nicely there, and then do some clickbait in the future. Be prepared for that. Right, so what we're going to do here is just put the click track on the nearest bar. Right now, I'm back in the session that we cut out as the editing session. We're not in the section that was already synced and mixed and it sounded great. Just to show y'all how it's done, right? The key here is to lasso absolutely everything. Do not move the sequencer without lassoing things. You will put the sequencer out of time with the music and you will create... Man, when I was younger, Max, and a younger engineer, these were the types of problems I caused for myself. No more, though, because I lasso. Maybe he's born with it. Maybe he lassos. So we're just going to take a bit out here of the front, and we'll restore that later. Or, in fact, let us do this. Let us move it. We'll let it start there. And then, because we know the tempo, we have set it. It is 81. And the nearest bar is 19. So, just need to disconnect that so that I can get that. So, the nearest bar is 19. And we know this click track over here needs to start on 19. Exactly on 19. And there we go. Now it's on 19. Let's select everything again. 19. Cool. This should pulse in time with the click track in Cubase. Let's just turn that up. It's going to sound pretty raw too.
Are we ready?
All right, and that is essentially how you start your song. You cut it out, find the tempo. If you have the tempo, you put it on the nearest bar. If you don't want all of this action here, depending on which DAW you are using, what you can do is just delete the time. Simply delete the time that you don't want, cut out all of this, boom, and then it will still be on the nearest bar. All right, so if you don't want a lot of unnecessary information in the beginning that you are not going to make use of, but in this case we actually made use of an intro for the lead vocal. Let me hear what we got. We can actually cut out all of that. Just take that down.
Are we ready?
Oh, we actually just started from this. So what we can do is do that. Right? So we can just keep that little bit.
Are we ready?
And that's it. That's how I have it in the original song. So now that we have everything in place, we have the tempo and we have all of the things in folders. So when I put stuff in folders, I put it in stuff in groups that make sense. So I put the backing vocals with the backing vocals. I put the bass with itself, and that will make sense later. I put the drums together. I put the main keys together so that it's really just easy to edit and move quickly. And once that is done, the first thing I start with is the drums. And we are going to have a drums masterclass where I go through everything, but I'm just going to briefly show you some of the most basic things that I do with the drums. The edit begins on the drums. Let me just mute the other stuff because that is typically what I do. Just mute all the other things, and then I start editing my drums. I start by putting my drums in phase. Putting your drums in phase is, man, it's such a life hack that we will cover it. So the first thing I do is put the drums in phase. I just need to find a clean snare over here. There we go. Nice clean snare. Put the drums in phase. There's our snare bottom. So put that, flip the polarity on that. There's snare top 2. Let me just raise all of these. Put that in phase with the drums. put the all 5 toms in phase with the drums. Drummers, why 5 toms? Why 5 toms? Put the overheads in phase with the snare, and the kicks are a bit more tricky, so I'm gonna put the kicks in phase with themselves. And put the kicks in phase with themselves, and then together, where's that snare strike? I'm gonna try my best guess for putting them in phase. I'm gonna assume there where that transient begins there is the best place, and I can see it's out of phase, so I'm gonna flip the polarity over. Yeah, so the drums are now nominally in phase. The next thing I do is then edit the toms, right? Just missing it there. The next thing I do is edit the toms. Now I have ways of editing the toms, whatever you want to do. If you want to put some gates on it, if you want to put like a silence on it, which is a great product, or smart gate, also a great product. But like, I like to detect silence. It's a great feature in Cubase. It allows me to move quickly. It already puts all of the fades in for me, and all I just need to do is check all of my, basically all of the edits that I did on the drums. If I come here, make sure that it catches all of these peaks over here, and then my tom 2 is edited, and so on and so on. Then I basically have my drums or my toms edited once I have it in phase, and that is very important. First put your drums in phase, and then you make edits. You just thank yourself later. Once I have all of the drums and things edited, I layer it with samples, and there's a whole process that we are going to get into later that is beyond the scope of this video. Just know I make them slap, and as an example, this is where the drums started out. And this is essentially what they become after I layer them with all of the triggers and these put in phase and all of that. And we have not even done any processing yet, but you can hear that the kick is fuller, the snare is bigger. All that good stuff comes from judiciously layering your drums. All right, let's get into the rest of the mix. This is something that I do for every mix. I do some clip gaining. Now this bass is pretty even, so I'm just gonna maybe take down some of these guys, just that little peak over there. Take care of this little thing over here. Now this is where I would also clip gain, just take a little bit down there. For the sake of the demonstration, let's move on, but I clip gain the bass. Then we clip gain the vocal. As you can see here, the singer gets really intense, so we just gotta clip gain some of this. And maybe take some of this down over here. We can clip gain these a bit some more. That's English. I think you get the point. Let's move forward. Then we're gonna clip gain the backing vocals. There's a great tutorial I'm gonna do with regards to backing vocals, but that's too much foreshadowing. So we're gonna clip gain the backing vocals, get them nice and even. Right, you can imagine that I do this for whatever amount of backing vocals I have, times Yes, it takes quite a few hours, and it eventually looks like this. Back to the session. The reason we clip gain, the main reason we clip gain is so that when we compress the material, that the compressor behaves more evenly. This even helps with saturation, as the vocals, the guitars, the bass and everything get saturated more evenly, because these two processes are heavily input based. Whatever you put in, the intensity of what comes in has a profound effect on how this plugin or processor will behave. So let's just jump ahead a little bit and show you how it looks when all the edits are done, when the drums edits are done. Let's go here to the bass. When the bass edits are done, all of the clip gaining that I had to do to put the bass together, the lead vocal edited, as we demonstrated, the backing vocals edited. Let's close these folders. The keys, I probably did clip gaining and stuff, and after printing the effects on the keyboards and stuff, this is what it probably came out as. But as you can see, all the clip gaining was done, and that's essentially what it looks like after I have done all of my edits. Now, this is very important, and one of the more important things that I want to communicate today. While I'm busy editing and I'm going through the session and seeing what is there, I'm getting to know the song. I'm learning the song and the arrangement. And while I'm doing that, I am formulating a mix plan. Now, once you move beyond the mysterious dark arts of compression and what's the best attack and release settings or what's the best saturation plugin, you move into the realm of interpretation. What you essentially learn is it's not just about the sound of your snare and the level of your snare, it's about how the mix makes you feel. When you mix, you want the song to make you feel some type of way. You want it to hit just right. The goal here is not always necessarily technical correctness, but emotional correctness. That's deep.
Cook.
Yes, you want banging drums. Yes, you want good levels for your vocals. Yes, you want your mix to translate everywhere. But above all, you want to create an experience for the listener. When you listen to your mix, you must feel some type of way, because you are in the game of fire emojis. Don't let them tell you it's anything else. That's what you're really craving. The fire emojis. When you send that mix and that client listens to it and they cry and they type out those fire emojis, but they're struggling because the tears are like dripping on the phone, and they first have to wipe it. They send you those fire emojis, and the WhatsApp comes through, and it's nothing but fire emojis. It makes all of this worth it. So spend time learning the song. This is very important. Don't just start mixing. Spend time learning the song. Learn the elements that are there. Learn what are kind of the standard expectations for the song. A nice life hack that I discovered is, if you're not sure what you should focus on and make the most important things, ask the client. It's their song. They are bound to know what they want. Some clients will trust you and just let you work, and then you can interpret it and present it to them. Those are my favorite clients. Some clients want to get more involved, and that's fine too. At the end of the day, it's not my song. It is their song. So ask the client, what is it that they are going for? Discuss the drum sound with them. Discuss what are the most important elements, what needs to shine. Ask them for a reference. Say, what is it when you were creating the song? What did you have in mind, and what is the end goal? And then you guys can work together as a team, because that's what you are. You are part of a team. You, as a mixing engineer, you are an artist as well, alongside the artist. Only you paint with EQs, compressors, and saturation. Those are your tools on how you make your art. This is such an important and huge topic and concept that I'm going to make a separate video on its own and show you exactly what I mean. And then once you're done editing and formulating your mix plan, I guess it's time to permeate your DAW with your template. Now, I don't have a template as such. I more have wins and references in that this drum sound is kind of like that drum sound I did that other time, so let me import those drums. This vocal kind of reminds me of that vocal. It's a female vocalist, they're singing in that range. I can use this as a starting point. And this is not a way to sit and forget, just import it and put it in the right track and then forget about it. No, you still have to do proper gain staging. You still have to account for the differences between the two songs, even though you are working probably from a standpoint that has one before. No two songs are the same. You still need to go through all of your checks and balances, make sure the compressor's hitting right, make sure the EQs are right, to make sure that you have the appropriate color and tone for the song. Each song needs its own interpretation, its own vibes altogether. So I don't automatically assume what I did in the past will, okay, wait, I do assume that what I did in the past will work because I spent years basically crafting my style, vetoing plugins, testing plugins. So, but when something doesn't work, I don't panic. I have contingencies. I have backup plugins. If plugin A doesn't work, I go to plugin B. If this thing doesn't work, I know this thing might work. I have failed so many times over so many years that I have found a way to succeed regardless of the challenges that I am facing. So once the kick is in the kick track and the vocal is in the vocal track and everything is where it's supposed to be, it is time to do a static mix. So what is a static mix? So what is a static mix?
iPhone 16 Pro Max.
Hey, iPhone Pro Max. No regrets. Don't edit that out, Bruce. Bruce, you leave that in.
Say less.
So what is a static mix? A static mix is when you have little to no automation. What you're just trying to do is you're just trying to set basic levels to get an idea of how the song is going to sound while executing on your mix plan. So you're trying to get the basic level of the kick, basic level of the snare in relationship to the vocal, and this and that. You're doing your cuts, your boosts. Usually during this period, I am testing the tone of my mix. I'm testing out different compression and color ideas. It's just basic ideas that I'm throwing at myself during the static mix. And this is worth saying, I usually mix a song over 2 days. And the reason I mix a song over 2 days is with live music, it usually takes 6, maybe even 8 hours to get my edits together, to do all the drum work that I did, to do all the clip gaining. Sometimes I have to do some magic that the clients don't know about and they don't appreciate, but if they send fire emojis, it's fine. So all of this editing and putting the session together and getting my static mix would have taken me anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. Some mixes took 2 days to put together. 10-12 minute monster songs take a really long time to edit, and I have spent so many mouse clicks, so many clicks, and I spent so much brain power, so much RAM putting this together that I found that when I come back the next day with a fresh brain, fresh eyes, fresh countenance, that I just do better work. So day 1 I reserve for all of my edits. Day 2 I reserve for the magic. This is where I do all of my automation. This is where I do all of the fancy moves, all the thing that gets the mix to sound amazing. And on that note, that is where we're going to leave it. Next week we will cover drums. Now, in all modern genres, unless maybe you're doing like old school jazz. In all other genres, drums are very important, especially in live music. Getting your drums to slap is the lifeblood of a mix. So that is where we're going to start. And then we're going to systematically zoom into all the things that I was talking about. How to formulate a mix plan, how to automate and build a mix. But we are going to start with the drums first. We covered a lot of ground today, so that's where I'm going to leave it. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Just do me one more favor. Don't be shy to hit the buttons on whichever platform you are seeing this. Yes, like I said, we'll be back next week, so don't be shy to hit the subscribe and follow buttons so you can be notified when I drop the next video. As always, love what you do and do what you love. Peace.
Right, cut. That's a wrap. Let's go home, guys.